Hello everybody, welcome to our Palworld survival guide. This is going to be a getting started guide, like when you kind of first load in, what are the kind of tasks that you should do starting off, more or less. So first things first, when you kind of load into the game, you load here, basically, and you'll find like this guy over here. I absolutely recommend talking to the two villagers or wanderers. In this case, he's a survivor, because they give you like extra little resources. So if you want some free stuff, talk to them. But also make sure that you do not miss out on interacting with this. It is a fast travel eagle statue. There are quite a few of them, obviously, throughout the island, and they allow you to fast travel across the map. And that's going to be a very important part of travel, because like, yeah, you can walk everywhere if you want to, but fast traveling is just so much more convenient, and you don't like drop your items at either when you fast travel. So it's a nice way to travel long distances, let's just say that. But basically, once you come out here, you're kind of like you have a tutorial that you can certainly follow, and it does a pretty good job of kind of like introducing you to certain things, but it also doesn't tell you about certain things. One of them being like, oh, the nighttime sucks, because when you're in the game for the first time, you're basically wearing like a towel like around your waist, basically, and you're freezing to death at night. So my advice is, when you first kind of walk out here, find a spot where you can build a primitive workbench. Just like put it down somewhere, make it, and then build yourself a torch, because that will keep you warm during the night. And the night's kind of scary because some of the more aggressive pals come out, but like if you have a torch, at the very least you're not dying from the cold, which is, you know, ideal. Now if you can't build a primitive workbench because somebody else is like built in the area, you might have to travel a little bit deeper, in which case I just say YOLO, just run as far as you can to get somewhere where you can build that workbench. And as an extra little aside, people who are on multiplayer, if you build a workbench just out here in the open, just make sure you disassemble it afterwards. You know, clean up after yourself, right? We're not heathens. And then with your torch, again, you'll survive your first night, I would hope, anyway, as long as you don't run into anything too dangerous. So after that, after you have your torch, I honestly recommend just kind of exploring this starter region, which is really kind of like this part. This is what I kind of consider the starter region. Even over here is like not too bad, and like over here is not too terrible either. But this here is really like the beginning part, and you will find a number of free items just on the grass. Like you can find some pal spheres just chilling on the ground for you to grab. You don't even have to make it. You just literally just pick it off right off the ground. So free items. There's like treasure chests kind of tucked away into areas that will also give you like spheres and gold and like a bunch of other like random items for free. Some of them are locked, but the majority of them are. You just have to interact with them, and they will open for you. And then obviously keep your eyes peeled for some more of those eagle statues, because they are your fast travel statues. Interact with them so that you can fast travel back to that location if you need to, like if you die or something, just saying. Because if you do die, at least on like default multiplayer or even default single player modes, your items will drop. And if you're single player, you don't have to worry about people coming and like stealing your stuff. But if you're on multiplayer, your bag does stay where you died, so you have to go recover it. And there might be not so nice people on the server who may see a bag, and they might choose to pick up those items for themselves. So it's not a bad idea if you can find the travel locations, statues, so that you can very quickly get to an area if you need to in the event of your untimely death. So, you know, explore the map, look for things, and get some free stuff, because, yeah, free stuff. So after you kind of like have looked around, you got a few spheres, you're going to need to capture some pals. And that's really kind of like the heart of the game, really, is capturing pals and making them grow stronger. The Lambell, who's like totally saying hi right now, is like one of the first pals that you can capture very easily. I think the game even tells you like, hey, go capture a Lambell. And they're like really low threat, very easy pals. So feel free to capture one. You can use them as shields. They're pretty good at like general tasks at your base. So I always recommend having at least one as part of your little base location, if you will. And if you can start to, if you get a little lucky, it's not a bad idea to perhaps get like a Fox Sparks for some aggressive action, some defense at your base, both just around, well, your base and also just yourself too. Don't try to go with a memo rest over there. They're very high level. They will eat you. Well, they won't eat you, but they will destroy you, as well as your pals. But so kind of just start to capture the pals that seem adorable to you for one, but also helpful. I do have a video on the best starter pals if you're kind of curious about maybe which ones you should lean towards, because there's some that I find are a little bit more helpful than others, especially when starting out. So refer to that video if you'd like. But basically, just go ahead and start capturing your pals. Now, the other big kind of thing after that, I guess, like the last part of like your beginner experience here, is to find a base location. And obviously, if you're on multiplayer, that's going to be a little bit more difficult because people will have, already scouted those. People who have gotten into the server before you will probably have scouted the best areas already. But there are a number of, locations around. Now, the thing with bases, though, is that if you plan on having pals out, which I highly recommend because they just make life a lot easier in the game, you're going to want as flat of land as possible. Like, this is okay. It's not too terrible. At least, like, on this part. The slope could be a problem. Over there, again, not too terrible either. It's relatively flat. And the reason why you're looking for flat is because these guys kind of struggle with slopes, I've found. They'll make it up them eventually, but, like, if the slope's a little too steep, they have troubles like getting up the slope. So flat is just a little bit easier. It's easier to build onto. So try and find like a flat location if you can. I know that's going to be like, prime location. So like a lot of people are going to be after that. Ooh, look at this. Speaking of a chest, let's go ahead and see what's inside. Bread, yum, and some gold coins. And look, there's a no, that's a fragment. Never mind. I thought that was a sphere, but So, it's going to be a little bit hard to find base locations, especially in the starting area, just because, it's a starting area. Of course, it's going to be, like, the first place built. But, and there's also, like, locations that you can't build, like, primarily around, like, these. We'll go to my base location when I can actually fast travel. Silly me. There's some regions that you can't actually build a base on. They tend to be areas that are, like, close to towers, for example. You can't build a base too close to a tower. So, that's unfortunate. It makes sense, but it's unfortunate. Fast travel here. So this is probably going to be like one of the earliest base locations already built on if you're playing on multiplayer, because it's one of the very first larger flat areas that you encounter. That happens to be, where I've built mine. But you can find other, flat areas. They're all over the place. You might just have to travel quite a little bit. And that's, again, where those eagle statues really come in handy, because if you do die while trying to find an ideal base location, at least you can fast travel quickly to your bag in your body. But that's about it once you find that ideal base location. And I'm sure I will have a video at some point once I get a flyer and I can take a look around some of these other areas about the best base locations. So do subscribe if you want to, glimpse into where those locations might be. But other than that, from there, you're able to just kind of do what you want, focus on what you want to do, whether that's base building, whether that's, infrastructure, getting your pals all kind of like in a factory, if you will, or just going out and exploring and capturing pals, whatever it is that you want to do. The world is your oyster at that point. That's about it. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you the next one. Until then, keep surviving and keep thriving.